What's going on, Tamers? It's that time again. We're here with another TBL Meta Snapshot for Season 3, Week 9. I want to apologize for my lack of professionalism. Right now in PA, we're in the middle of a heat wave, and it's just way too hot. So you're lucky I'm even wearing a shirt right now. So I guess with that being said, yeah, that was kind of inappropriate. But let's. I'm not looking forward to this breakdown this week. And I mean that with the utmost respect to all the players. We did have 13 players, 12 different decks, so we're still having that variety that I like to see. But I could not be less excited for this top four. First off, we have two of the same decks, and one of the decks that I despise going over because we've gone over it so many times. So I think by default, without even getting into it, my pick of the week is going to be Leppy's Leopardmon that he came in third with, so shout out to Leppy. But as you can see, here's our top four. Mythos took it with 7 Great Demon Lords. Numemon in second. Artoria, shout out to you. Leppy, as we mentioned before, in third with Leopardmon. And Burrito with 7 Great Demon Lords to round off our top four. Vaccine Armors, Phoenixmon, Barbamon, Dorogoromon. Okay, so we did have another Dorogoromon, Imperial, Beelstar. Okay, cope. Where's all my Ragna players at? Like, I want to see some Ragna. Like, somebody play Ragna. I guess it's not that good, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into it, but before we do that, let's head on over and check out our rankings so far. So Leppy's in first with 88 points. We have Walter and Michael and Burrito rounding out our top four. So now we have a definitive top four. There's no ties. And Leppy jumped this week because if memory serves me correctly, he was in the second place spot last week. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, as long as you're consistent with your participation, you'll jump the point spread. Obviously, the more you top, the better you're going to do because you're going to put yourself in a winning bracket. But, you know, consistency is key, right? I mean, just like with any type of tournament ranking or any type of point structured competition, the more you play, the better off you're going to be. So shout out to all of our participants. Like I said, we're probably over 40 at this point. So I do appreciate everybody being able to participate on a consistent basis. I've pretty much given up on trying to participate in the TBLs right now in the summertime. With just work and the kids being out of school, everything's super busy. Hopefully in the fall, when everything calms down, I have a little bit more time. I do want to dedicate myself a little bit more to playing the Digimon card game now, going into this year, going into 2025. I really do miss playing against other people with real cardboard. So that's just something that I'm working on here on my own. And I really do need to be a better sport about it and sign up for a TBL. But let's go over our top four decks for this week. So in fourth place, we had one of our 7 Great Demon Lords. This is nothing different from what we've seen, except for this Impmon. I really do like the addition of this Impmon because on play, you get to add a 7 Great Demon Lord from your trash to your hand, which is really nice. Most of the time, I'm assuming you're going to want these in trash anyway, but in case you need to just grab one for some type of a combo or some type of a play, that's not a bad, little tech option there. You're not really doing too much traditionally with your eggs, digivolving up through the rookies. You're kind of just feeding it kind of like Yggdrasil for Royal Knights. So it's nice to have some type of on-plays. That's why I do like the Sister Mont Blanc, because it's on-play trash 1, draw 2, which is just perfect for purple strategy. No OG Lucemon. This is the new Lucemon Chaos mode. I think last week we went over a deck with the OG Chaos mode to go over your Lucemons here, but pretty much, everything looks pretty much the same, except for this poor Cupomon. So this is a BT13 card on play on deletion. Delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Okay, and then the inheritable in this end of opponent's turn, once per turn, draw one, then trash one. So that's not terrible. That's an inheritable though, so you're gonna want that probably. What is this? Is a puppet, so it's not a 7 Great Demon Lord. So I'm wondering what is it just on play kill a Floodgate maybe? For 4, I guess that's not terrible. That's probably what you're doing. On play kill a Floodgate. For 4, that's not bad. There's no way of feeding it to the gate. So yeah, maybe that's just the application here. It's just a non-play, kill something, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Yeah, I could see that, especially with Numemon is a level 3, but for the most part, you're gonna go into the X antibody. I'm trying to think. Obviously, Floodgate rookies. That's probably gonna be your main target. I would assume. Let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong about that. I just don't see a way, unless you're digivolving a Lucemon, but you're not gonna digivolve him for 8. That just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But this is our 4th place 7 Great Demon Lord. Like I said, it looks pretty similar to the list that we went over last week. On to our 3rd place finish and our pick of the week, Leppy's Leopardmon. So Leppy played something, I don't want to say something similar, but he did play some type of Leopardmon variant last season. He was mixing in the Imperial Dramon package as well, trying to figure out, and I think earlier in the season he was playing Imperial Dramon with Leopardmon on the top end. But I gotta say, if Leppy, if you're listening, I think this is your best variation yet. I mean, I've seen what this low end can do in action. I really do like the climbability. I really do like the suspension. I feel like naturally you're playing a longer game. And then obviously the top end of Leopard and Leopard X just spitting out bodies for reduction is really nice. You have your Cherubimon Ace, which isn't a card that we've gone over too much. Hand Counter Blast Digivolve Alliance. On play when Digivolving, you may play 1 green or yellow level 4 or lower Digimon card from your hand without paying the cost. Then until the end of your opponent's turn, one of their Digimon gets minus 4k for each of your other Digimon. So that is crazy. In combination with the abilities of Leopard and Leopard X to spit out bodies, this can stack and go pretty high, and really all you need is 3 other bodies on the board to delete a Mega. So yeah, that's pretty sick, I think. And you're blasting over a Lilymon if you need to. That's not terrible. You do have to be careful with this Ace stack here. If you go Lilymon Ace into Cherubimon Ace, that's going to be overflow of 7. So you definitely want to be careful there. But I do like this. There's a lot of searchability. There's a lot of synergy. You're going to turbo through your eggs with Mimi. That's why you're playing 5. We all know how I feel about Protoform. And Ultimate Chaosmon is actually a pretty interesting top end here. DNA Digivolution, a yellow black with a green purple. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that... Does it have to be yellow and black? Like, what is the play here with this? Yellow and green? Yeah, okay, that's what it is. Yellow and green. So you're gonna DNA off of Cherubi, I'm assuming, because that's your only yellow target. So that's overflow 3 right there if Cherubi leaves the field. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Or maybe if DNA Digivolution doesn't proc overflow. I'm not exactly sure how that works. But anyway, partition, obviously you spit out your 2 Megas. When Digivolving, if DNA Digivolving, you may place up to 2 level 6 cards from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. Then for each of this Digimon's level 6 Digivolution cards, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Your turn, this Digimon with 4 more level 6s gains security attack plus 3 and piercing. That is disgusting. Because if you DNA with 2 level 6s and you tuck 2, that's your 4 right there. You're going to bounce 4 Digimon and have security attack plus 3, so you're going to swing for 4 checks piercing. At 16k, that's kind of gross. So let's just get rid of that right there. Yeah, that's insane. I want to... Maybe you can hard... Yeah, okay. I was just going to say... You can hard Digivolve for 7 over a level 6. So that's also not terrible. Because the on Digivolution is when Digivolving. If DNA, you place 2 level then for each. So you still... If you hard Digivolve it over a level 6, you'll still be able to bounce 1 Digimon and get that type of a removal there with just a 16k beat stick on the board. I think Partition has to spit out both targets. So I'm wondering if Leppy was just including this as his 50th card, or if he actually went into this off of a DNA or a hard Digivolve. I guess Leppy, if you're watching this, let me know in the comments, bro. How many applications did you have with Ultimate Chaosmon? I really am curious about that. But I really do like what I'm seeing here. This is the OG Lilymon from EX1. So basically, the inheritable is when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, gain security attack +1. You're suspending stuff left and right in this deck. I mean, that's basically what this deck does. So if you have this as an inheritable and you essentially just benefit from having that security +1, that's what it's for. A lot of those EX1 cards, you know, they're so old now at this point that we forget what their abilities are, but there's some pretty good ones, man. Like, you know, obviously for me, you know, EX1 Vmon has always been something I've played because of Ulforce. It's kind of phasing itself out a little bit just because there's so much memory gain already. And there's just better Vmons that you could play technically. But yeah, a lot of those EX1 cards still hold some value. I mean, Analog Youth is an EX1 card. Obviously, Machine Dramon Secret Rare is EX1. So there's some good value in that set. But yeah, I'm liking what I see here. This is definitely interesting. And the only question I would have for Leppy is Ultimate Chaosmon. Like, how many times did that come up for you? On to our runner-up, Numemon. Take a look. Take a mental screenshot. You know, screenshot the video, whatever. I guess this is it. This is what we're doing, right? Like, your 8 Ukumons is standard. Your floodgates, you're going on top of a purple egg for on deletion inheritables. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is what we're doing now. Like, this is it. Like, I mean, this is a really expensive card. I think it's like, last time I saw it was like $15. That's crazy. Valkyremon Ace and Edamon combo still seems to be wreaking havoc. That's kind of gross. A force attack and then blast, and then Shine Greymon on your top end is really great. What is there to like? What do you want me to say? Like, what is there to say about this? Like, what more can we say that we haven't already? Like, it's a good deck. I mean, I hate that it's good. And you know what? Like, if I get roasted for that, that's fine. It's my opinion. I hate that this deck is as good as it is. I hate it. But, you know, you can't argue with results. I would never fault anybody for playing this. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like, you know, I'm gonna get so much shit. I don't like to play good decks. That's probably why, I am not as good as I should be, but whatever. It's all about having fun. It's just not my style. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, we've talked about this so many times when we go over Numemon. These decks have to exist because it keeps your top tier decks in check. So I understand, just, you know, playing a lot of different card games in my life. I understand that decks like this have to exist. I just hate it. I'm allowed to hate it, right? Like, I'm allowed to not like things. But I mean, listen, it's not a first place Numemon, so it's trash. If you ain't first, you're last. A wise man once said that. Shout out to Ricky Bobby. Yeah, I mean, you're playing Ukumons, you play 5 eggs. Louis is really good. It's just a really good card. Being able to turbo out your rookies, or whatever you have in raising, if you have a stack going, and being able to gain a memory off of it. Essentially, you're playing this for 2, and then you can go off with your Ukumons because they read themselves coming out of raising. It's just gross. I mean, there's not really much else. These Ukumons get so much value. You know, hatch gain a memory, search gain a memory. I mean, search, hatch search, hatch gain a memory, like, and then they stack every turn. They trigger when something moves. It's just really good. Yeah, I mean, you can't be mad. I mean, we've had a really large sample size, and this deck's here to stay, I think, in my opinion. Unless something gets hit, which will probably never happen. On to our first place, 7 Great Demon Lord list. Yeah, this is very similar to what we went over last week, minus the Matt Ishida, I believe. But I'm okay with a 1-of because it adds a purple option in Digimon, right? Yeah. It adds 1 back from trash, and I'm okay with having a memory tamer because starting at 3 is always better than starting at 1 or 2, obviously. Zwart Defeat is interesting. Good card, great security effect, really good card. Here's the OG Chaos Mode, BT7. That's what we were missing from the 4th place profile. But yeah, I mean, 7 Great Demon Lords. I haven't really seen too much of the action for this deck on paper, but obviously, if you're playing a zoo, any type of zoo deck, so anything with just big bodies, it's gotta, you know, there's obviously risk reward, right? But this deck just seems straight up gas. It's similar to how we felt about Royal Knights just being a huge top end, but then you get the reduction off of the egg, so we totally get it. This is essentially a mirror image of that. We've talked about this before. Personally, like if I were to pick one of the two, I prefer the Royal Knights. I guess it's just the Boy Scout in me, wanting to always have the good guys prevail. But this is awesome. Like Beelzemon is badass. One of my favorite Digimon, definitely. For me, like Digimon Tamers. So I guess season 3 of Digimon, all that Impmon Beelzemon interaction was awesome. Like very deep story, and I mean, I think it's safe to say that Tamers is probably up there, if not like the best season of Digimon. Maybe there's an argument to be had, but yeah, obviously, anything that happened in Tamers was pretty good. I'm not a really huge fan of the bio merch stuff, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. But as far as this is concerned, your mill strategy, you're purple, you're playing bombs on the top. Ogudamon is disgusting if you get it to go off. Leviamon's great. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Numemon not in first, but when you have two of the same decks in the top 4, you're talking about you're looking at player preference when it comes to ratios, because primarily, well, that's not even a word. Primarily, I can't speak today. Primarily, the skeletal structure of the deck is going to be the same, because there's X amount of cards that you have to play, like for the strategy itself, and then you get a window of, I would say on average, maybe anywhere from like 4 to 8, or like, yeah, let's say 4 to 8 cards that are flex spots, or not like concrete, like you have to play them. Like a lot of the Digimon decks are just kind of, here's like 42 cards, or here's like 38 cards, and then figure out the other 12. So it's like one of those types of things. Like there's cards that you have to play. Like you have to play your Demon Lord names. You have to have them for requirements, for effects. You have to have options. You have to have, you have to play your Gudamons. You have to play your Lucimons. Like, so there's not a lot of room for flexibility. I think we've had this conversation on pod, and I know Varney feels very strong about this as well. I think we're getting to the point in the Digimon card game where the conversation about upping the deck count to 60, like minimum 50, maximum 60, anything in between is okay. I think that's a fair conversation to have right now. I'm not saying you have to make deck construction 60 cards, but I'm saying anywhere float between 50 and 60 and leave it up to the player. I think that's fine. Obviously, we know the downside to having bigger decks is going to affect your consistency, but if you're trying to squeeze in like an extra 2 or 3 cards to progress your strategy, I'm okay with it. The other thing that I really think Digimon can benefit from is side decking. I don't want to get too heavy into these types of topics. This is more of like a podcast conversation, but I think Digimon is ready for that. It doesn't have to be crazy. Maybe like a 5-card side deck I'd be fine with. But yeah, I mean, it's good seeing these are newer cards, right? These came out in EX6, so I'm happy to see EX6 being represented very well. I just want to see some more Ragna. But other than that, yeah, I mean, not terrible. I mean, I hope next week we get a new top 4, because this is now 2 weeks in a row with 7 Great Demon Lords and Numemon topping. So I'm pretty much going to be a broken record at this point. I would even take some Red Hybrid at this point, just to talk about something different. But yeah, I mean, I really want to see what you guys have cooking up. I understand there's points and there's prizing involved and stuff like that, but don't be afraid to be original. Not saying that you guys aren't original for playing this, but let's see some spice. We should probably do like I know Panzer suggested pick of the week, but maybe we should do like spiciest card of the week or something like that, like something that really pops out, Anyway, let me know in the comments down below if there's anything different that you'd like to see with these meta snapshots. These aren't as structured or as like analytical as our other snapshots that we do for like big tournaments. Not saying that there's not as much weight in the TBL, because I really do appreciate the TBL being available for our player base and for our community. I just like doing this more I guess, unstructured. I feel like it's more organic that way. But I mean, if you guys really want me to, will delve into like more analytical stuff and you know, try and figure out play lines and strategies and stuff like that. But for me, I just enjoy face value, seeing what everybody's playing. I'm not going to even attempt to try and get inside the head of a player who's better than me just to figure out, you know, what it is that I would do, because 9 times out of 10 that's going to be the wrong play line. But yeah, I still enjoy doing these for you guys. I enjoy doing them for myself too when I see new interactions into cards that I'm not too familiar with. But for the most part, I mean, just keep participating. Check the Discord for all the registration information, and I hope you guys are enjoying Season 3 so far. I know I am. But with that being said, we're going to get on out of here. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you in the next video.